I was hoping the finale would save the season. I was hoping it would end on a high note, give us something to look forward to for next year, give us a little bit of hope. It did none of
I
those
didn't
things.
know. I didn't know this was the finale. There was. I swear to God, last week when they did the next week on Beverly Hills, they didn't say on the finale of Beverly Hills. I will hold on to that. I am not going to go back and rewatch because I don't care that much. I had no indication that this was the finale until I halfway through the episode felt like it was the finale.
You got the inkling it was a finale. I didn't
Yeah.
know until I was on Instagram and something popped up. Last night in the Beverly Hills finale, I was like, what?
Shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows. Bros and shows, bros and shows. I gotta have me my bros and shows.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bros and Shows. I'm your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Finale McGee. What's up, dude?
Not a whole lot. I mean, we just talked about how we didn't even know it was the finale. And there were strong indicators of this episode. You know, usually when they show the side-by-side panel of what the people are up to now, you realize, holy shit, is this the finale? But not only that, I felt like all the chatter, because we never watch these episodes live for the most part, all the chatter that I saw today was about the reunion trailer. And that is a strong indicator of a nothing episode because no one was talking about this episode. There was no scenes or, some people will do the clips that look like memes where they have the dialogue going underneath. It looks really fun. None of that. It's all about the reunion. So I was not excited even going into this episode and even less excited when I found out it was the finale. It was lackluster.
Lackluster is a nice way to put it. It was just boring. Yeah. And I mean, it kind of embodied the entire season. We were trying to find silver linings along the way, find things that we enjoyed. Overall, it was an underwhelming season. And then you end it like this. I have so many questions about the future of this show, what they're planning on doing with this show, given the news that Garcelle is leaving. Like, there's a lot of question marks. I don't even know which way you go after this. Like, what do we talk about next year? Like, what carryover do Dorit and Sutton? I'm good. I don't need to talk about that anymore. Like, what path forward do they possibly have here?
I have no idea what path forward. I didn't know what path forward they had with Garcelle. Boz is a great addition. I thought that she really showed out in the finale. She gave me a lot of hope for the group as a whole. And if she can lead the group to greener pastures, I'm all for it. But I don't know what they do. I really don't know what they do. I think that this was, the finale's over. We can say it. It was a boring season. There was nothing to go off of. And there was so much promise before the season, as there typically is. Kyle and Dorit, is this going to be fun? And it was fun for the most part for like 3 episodes. And then it wasn't fun because they made up. And then it was just Sutton against everybody, Sutton against Dorit. Erika showed up towards the end when her interior design was over. I don't know. It's just one of those seasons that no one's going to talk about ever again. No one's going to go back and rewatch. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't like Beverly Hills seasons of the past where we felt like they went on for too long. They felt like they cut it short, I think, for sure, because we barely even went back to Beverly Hills afterwards. Usually they don't end it on a cast trip like this.
Yeah, no, maybe they had extra footage and they whacked it. I don't know what happened, but this was a bad finale. Like, you can say the season was whatever, ho hum. It was more bad than good, but it wasn't a season where I was constantly on my phone the whole time.
Yeah.
This finale, I had to stop and rewind because I realized I wasn't paying attention multiple times. That's a bad sign.
Yeah, that's a really bad sign. You know what's actually interesting though? I left my water bottle at your house. I need to come get that tomorrow. Yeah, that's more fun than this episode. Oh, you washed it for me?
Yeah, I didn't. Fuck no. I've washed it for you. I don't.
Your baby washed it for me?
Yeah, Scotty washed the bottle because
she's already up so fast.
Smart. I know, it happens quick. It happens so fast. But because of the lack of substance in this episode, I thought that it would be a good idea. We both watched Watch What Happens Live with Boz and Erika Jane. And it was an interesting episode. It was an interesting episode, to say the least. I didn't love the vibe from either of them. It was a new side of Boz that I hadn't really seen yet. Erika got reactivated, I guess, somehow. Maybe it was the finale. What we got between that and then this Watch What Happens Live appearance, the vibe that I got from the finale and then that was similar to like 2 years ago when we got a lot of mean girl shit, a lot of insults for no reasons, people taking like cheap shots. I didn't love it. I didn't understand it. I was like, this is such a weird route to take at this juncture. So What were your takeaways watching Watch What Happens Live?
So I mean, I was disappointed in Bose because I thought that she took a step in the right direction this episode, and I'm not saying that Sutton is somebody that like the audience or us or anybody in the cast really needs to get behind, because she obviously has her shortcomings and she got called out for her shortcomings. You can't play the victim at this point because you've done things. So I don't believe that you need to immediately just get behind her, but I thought that Bose took a step in the right direction by having a one-on-one with her, by trying to get to know her, which is something that I've been talking about the whole season with Bose as a newcomer. For somebody who has a really strong presence coming onto a show like this that really had no direction, I think she helped a lot. And I think that she put herself in a great position. And then Watch What Happens Live last night, I felt like she negated almost all of that, because it looked like she was just falling into the same circle of, yeah, you know what? Like, I might be a bit of a leader for this group, but I'm not going to be unbiased. I'm going to be just like Erika. I'm going to be just like Kyle. I'm going to be just like Dorit. And that's not what she showed us this whole season. So it was definitely a little bit, I was a little taken back from it. And I'll have to see, obviously, how the reunion plays out. And we'll see how next season goes, because I'm sure it's pretty much going to be the same people minus Garcelle. I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to
bring
spot,
somebody. They'll bring somebody.
I don't know. I just don't know what they do. But for Bose in particular, I was disappointed. For Erika, I was actually a little heightened. I was excited a little bit more because she's
I thought it was
something. Well, that's Erika, though. Like, being mean is Erika, and if she's going to be Erika and she's going to be mean, that's way better than what we got for the 80% of the season. I'll take that over what we got.
I agree with that to a certain extent, but for me, it felt like forced, and like they both fell into this trance of like they thought they were the coolest kids in the room. Like the way they're going back and forth with each other, they're making jokes that nobody laughed at, and then they were laughing at it. They were feeding off each other's energy, like saying mean shit about Sutton. And what I liked about Bose for the entirety of the season was, even when she didn't get along with people, she didn't take random shots at people. And this could be a product of the reunion. Like, we don't know what's going to go down there. Obviously, some shit pops off with Erika and with Garcelle. And I'm not sure what else that leads to Garcelle walking off the set, but it could be stemming from that. I'm not entirely sure. But what I don't need in my life, and what I'm really hoping is not starting up again, not that it ever left, this had a lot of Fox Force 5 vibes to it. Like, and I'm so over that bullshit, and I'm so over the clicks on this show, and we'll get into it more when we start to talk about the actual episode itself. But that's my biggest takeaway, my biggest fear after watching how this episode ended, and then watching this Watch What Happens Live appearance. I feel like we're reverting back to that. And that was when this show was at its absolute worst. So I don't want that. Of course, Ryan loves the Fox Force 5. No surprise.
The thing about the Fox Force 5 is, I think if you had just them, you isolate just them on a show, it could be interesting, because they do have to turn on each other. Now, there is obviously the chance that they don't turn on each other, and it is a very, very boring product of watching losers live in Beverly Hills and think that they're the best things in the world. But if they turn on each other, that would be great, because they're all heavyweights. And we didn't see a lot of that, because we had people like Sutton and Crystal, Garcelle, who, never really gave a fuck too much. But people that were on the outside of the Fox Force 5 were always victims of their wrath. And that got so boring to watch. That got so annoying. And we didn't want to watch it anymore after watching all of that. So getting rid of Rinna kind of helped a little bit, but you can see that there's still so many remnants of that. And these women just click up, and then they just take people out. And again, I'm not making excuses for Sutton. She puts her foot in her mouth and she says dumb shit all the time. And then she gives fake apologies. So you do have to stand there and take it when people are coming after you, and you have to be able to fight back. And she's incapable of doing that. And that just goes to show you that they do not have the right setup for this cast.
Yeah, I agree. They're missing some key components. I think people are too comfortable. I think that people are too set in their ways. I think we're getting repeat products now every year. And like, yeah, they lightened up a little bit this season, but it's still, as soon as Dorit and Kyle seem to bury the hatchet, we start to move forward from that a little bit. And then Sutton does something dumb, as she tends to do. And then bam, everyone pile up on Sutton. There's nothing else to talk about. No one else is taking center stage. And we just run through this same bullshit that we've done. I don't know, 3 seasons, 4 seasons of this. Like, I'm good. Yeah. We need different directions. I agree with you. Bose was a great addition, despite her Watch What Happens Live appearance. She's still great for the show. I think she's going to come back and have a great season
next year. Recency bias, I feel like. I'm not negging her too much. I'm not putting her down like on the totem pole or anything like that. It was just a little disheartening to see that last night, because you get a glimpse of what it could be, and I don't like what it could be.
If that's the vibe next season, I'm going to be out. Like, I can't watch a bunch of Mean Girl shit for an entire year again. I think it's so played out and boring. But why don't we jump into this episode? And before we do, I think we created a monster because Adam, for those of you that don't know at home, we have our members in here with us today. We're live streaming to them. They're interacting with us this whole time. So if you want to join the fun next week, we do it once a week, live streams. Join our members program. You can go to the bros.memberful.com or click the link in our Instagram bio. It's $5 for the month, $50 for the year. Now, back to what I was saying. I think we created a monster because Adam Sparks here. It's his first time in with us. And he said, I finally get to see Ryan live and in action. So we have now made Ryan a mainstay. So you're welcome.
He's
Ryan.
a household name in the bros community.
Yep. Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk Tamara's biggest fan? Right? You're welcome, Ryan. But let's get
consistent. Being a Fox Force 5 fan and being a Tamara fan makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah. Look, we love you, Ryan. You know this. It's all in good fun, but he's consistent. He is consistent, and we like consistency around here. But let's jump into this episode, and we start out. We're still on the boat. We're in like this island lagoon thing. I'm not really sure what you call that body of water, but you get Tilly and Sutton. And Tilly's not surprised. And I like Tilly in confessionals because she tells you what she really thinks. And most of the time, it's a little bit more neutral than it is like ride or die for Sutton. Because in this moment, she's like, yeah, I'm not surprised Eric is being critical because I see both sides. Like, yes, Eric is being really mean and people are knocking Sutton down. But at the same time, Sutton's really volatile and she starts a lot of shit and she says a lot of stupid things. So
yeah, and I'm okay with that too. And on the heels of our conversation last week about how everybody seems to go to their confessionals to speak the truth and won't speak up in the moment, I'm okay with Tilly not defending Sutton because that is it's not a good thing. And this will be a big component of this episode, talking about, do people need to step in and defend her? She gets defended all the time. No, let her fight for herself for once, and that's okay. Tilly, not very close with the rest of these women. I'm okay with it because I know where she's coming from with the neutrality and understanding both sides, because that's how we feel when we look at it. Like, yeah, Sutton does need to defend for herself, and she did have this coming. This isn't like a malicious gang up that was premeditated or anything like that, which is another thing that we have to talk about. It was just Sutton getting her comeuppance. And I'm not going to step up and tell her that in the moment. I'm just going to be here as a friend because that makes the most sense. And that's a logical movement.
I agree. And yes, it was time. Here's the thing. There's a fine line, for me at least, between you deserve this. You brought this on yourself. And then it gets to a certain point where it's like, and done. Like, you got it. We got it. Yeah. Let's move on from this. Let's not keep hammering the same shit home, which is
that's the thing. She gets hammered home all the time. And it's like, all right, we get the point, and they're reacting to her reacting to getting hammered. That's really what it is. So we don't have to keep doing this. It's just a carousel. Get your point across. You know how she's going to react. You don't have to further the point. It's okay. Just leave it there. She'll figure it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that at a certain point, yes, she has to stand on her own 2 feet. But once the point's across, once you see her getting burned, we see this across the board on housewife shows. People cross that line all the time, and it's fast. Like, how fast they reel it in once they recognize that they've gone too far. Like in Roni, when they were on that one trip and they all ganged up on Aaron and everyone's going after her. And all of a sudden it was like, oh shit, we got to stop. That was too much. We saw it on the bus with Brittany and Roslick. This happens frequently, but most of the time people get the temperature and they're like, and we're good now. Sorry, you deserved it, but let's move on. They don't do that with Sutton. And I'm not saying she doesn't deserve the comeuppance, but they tend to not relent when it comes to her. And that's
I get
something
the frustration because she does the same thing where she goes in the continuation of, I'm going to apologize for this, and then I'm going to go back to doing the same thing. Like, she never actually learns from her mistakes, if you want to call them that, which, these women will call them mistakes. And a lot of them in our eyes are mistakes. Like, just don't say things like that. Don't react that way. That's fine. And I get the frustration. I understand it, but they need to understand us as an audience. We're not going to just sit here and enjoy watching you go after the same person every time, regardless if she deserves it. We're not going to sit here. I don't care if it's OC and Tamara's being a lunatic and being an asshole to everybody. She never gets her comeuppance. But if she did, I'm telling you, after a season or 2 of watching it, we would sit here and say,
Like,
lay
leave
off
her
her.
alone.
Who cares?
Yeah.
It's just not fun to watch anymore. It's not entertainment, and that's what you guys are supposed to be providing us, not whatever this is.
Yeah, entertain me. That's why we watch
Come
these
on.
shows. Come on. But we move on from there, and you get Boz, and she's planning a little birthday dinner for Erika Jane and for Dorit with the famous newbie line. We're just going to have some fun. No stress tonight. Like, these girls blew it all out of proportion. It's time to reel it in. It never works, ever. Every newbie that's ever been on Real Housewives on any show is like, this one's going to be different. And it's like, no, it's not.
We always hold out hope for the newbie that's going to be like, yeah, I know how these go. It's not going to go well, and I'm just going to plan for it. So
I can't wait. Like, I need a newbie to decorate the table with sock and boppers. Remember those? That would be funny. It's like, hey, I figured this is going to go south, so I gave you guys some safe boxing gloves.
Rock'em sock'em,
Fight.
rock'em sock'em.
Is that what it is? More fun than a pillow fight. Yeah.
Yeah. See?
No, it's sock and boppers. You crossed.
I thought it was rock'em sock'em.
You crossed rock'em sock'em robots with sock and boppers.
Ah, I did. Yeah, good call.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah, which there might be something there too, by the way. Just saying. Let's put that one in the think tank.
Trademark.
Oh yeah,
that's an official trademark. Yep.
That's how you do it, everybody. If you don't know how to trademark,
we're not rating Disney.
No,
we're doing a trademark.
Trademark or copyright.
Copyright.
Yeah, you got it. Nice. Or registered trademark.
Yeah, there you go.
Still going? No? Okay, cool.
Nope.
Everyone's getting ready. And this is the thing with Erika too. Okay. You get multiple stories as far as how she's feeling about something. And I picked up on it. I don't think I've ever picked up on it in the past, but I really picked up on it here because I used to be like, oh, she's pretty up and up. Like, she might be a little bit brash, but she usually tells it like it is. In this moment, she's saying, I think I'm right. I have no ill will against Sutton, by the way. I want to be able to move on with her, but I also want to be able to say my piece and get it out there. And it's like, that's fair. That's reasonable. You should be allowed to. The whole sisterhood speech was about being able to have these discussions instead of allowing them to blow out, like, get blown way out of proportion. So that I agree with. The vibe later is much more like Sutton always does this shit. It's time that she knows, and it's time that we set her right. And it's like, well, what happened to like the middle ground of like, I want to be cool with you, but I need to tell you something.
Well, she says the same thing on Watch What Happens Live too. And I can see, I think one of the questions was, will Sutton ever be or have a good friendship with Erika and Dorit? Dorit, no, I don't think so. I just think that they're way too different. They will never be friends. But Erika and Sutton can be friends in some ways. They just need to. Erika needs consistency from Sutton, which I agree with. That's fair. That's fair. I do think that Sutton's going to need Erika to not be as critical towards her. And I think they can potentially get there. At some point, I'm just going to completely lose interest in this. But that was one of my favorite things when we first started our show, was saying that these two should be friends. And it made a lot of sense. We're slowly getting there. But every time we take like 4 or 5 steps forward, we take 10 steps back. So I don't know where we are right now. I'm not keeping track.
We'll get there eventually.
Yeah, and I don't know. Erika started off good for me, you know, after the whole season of the interior design.
This is her best episode.
I'm like, this is good. I like what you're doing right now. And then she started to say things about that I just simply disagreed with. And I didn't understand where she was coming from. This was the start of that, but I'm still on Erika's side. I'm like, yeah, that's fair. You got your shit out. Like, good, go for it.
Yep. But while they're still getting ready, Tilly brings up the point that the attack on the boat earlier felt a little bit planned, maybe a little bit premeditated. And I think there's levels to saying quote unquote premeditated, and we'll get into that in a little bit. But she's suspicious of the group's intent, what they were trying to do on that boat. But before we get there, you get Garcelle and Sutton, and you can tell Garcelle, especially by the end of this episode, she's fed up with the Kyle shit when it comes to Sutton.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from taking it personally, which by all means, I would too. It's like, I ride or die for you every day, all the time. You always do stupid shit. I'm always the one in your corner trying to back you up. And at the end of the day, you're not looking at me for help. You're not looking at me saying thank you. You're looking at Kyle and wondering where she's at. And at a certain point, if I'm your close friend and you keep cold shouldering me when I'm sticking up for you, I'm going to start to get fed up. And I think throughout this episode, you saw her get more and more like, all right, fuck it. I'm out. She's on her own.
No, I fully agree with that. And I think that we saw that on the boat. That was two things. One of it was, yeah, let's see if Kyle jumps in. Let's see if your new bestie's going to jump in and save you. She didn't. Okay, now I can point to that later and point it out to Sutton, which she does. And the other part of that is, why am I going to hitch my wagon to this? Why am I going to continue to do this? And I think the Kyle situation and looking to Kyle and, holding her up on this pedestal when you're Sutton, I think it's rubbed Garcelle the wrong way. Like, why would I do this continuously when I'm trying to? And I don't really believe her at the end of the episode when she says, I want to like have a relationship with these ladies. I really don't believe that Garcelle cares at all about any of them. I think she's friends with Sutton. I think she can be friends, approximate friends with Tilly at some point. That's fine. The rest of them, I don't think that Garcelle likes them or cares about them. So I think that was just a flat out lie. But why would she keep sticking her neck out when she gets nothing in return? She doesn't get Sutton's gratitude at all in these situations. She's just expected to do it. And when she doesn't do it, there's a notable absence of Garcelle stepping up for Sutton. And when it happens, it's like, oh, okay, we're just going to keep going at Sutton then because your guard dog's not jumping in. Like, it's just crazy.
Yeah. And I think that's a good way for Garcelle to be like, all right, you're so concerned about Kyle. Let's wait for her to speak up and watch how you flounder when I'm not helping you out. Like, watch the lack of backup. This group of ladies will not relent. They're going to keep coming after you because you don't have backup and no one's telling them to shut up. They're not going to stop. They feed off of each other. We've seen that happen before, but Sutton's big sticking point is, we had such a great visit when we went to Augusta. And it's like, yeah, you did. It was lovely. But you are then back in Beverly Hills. You're around Kyle with her other friends now. You're not in this little bubble in Augusta where it's only the three of you. And at the same time, she's not at that place anymore where she left LA to escape and came to Augusta with you and was trying to hide from the world. So you really got her undivided attention, which I'm sure felt great. I'm sure it was like a very cathartic trip for you and your friendship. I'm sure you looked forward and like, wow, that's what we needed to really break this friendship to the next level. It was conditional because of where you were at and because of the circumstances. When you're back in LA, she's going to go hang out with Morgan Wade. She's going to go hang out with Kesha. She's going to like everybody but you probably, because I think you're friends on the show sometimes when it's convenient for her. But this pandering after Kyle's got to stop. And she says, I'm done. Like, I can't do this anymore. It's 5 steps forward, 10 steps back, and I'm over it. This whole group has come at me for 5 years. They're just trying to break me down. They always try to beat me up. And you do get a montage. And they have come after Sutton year after year after year. But the important thing to note, Sutton's not innocent. She puts her foot in her mouth. And you get a montage of that too. And when I'm watching these two next to each other, okay, I see where she fucks up, obviously. It's quite clear, right? But in those moments when she's messing up, I don't think that she has malicious intent. I think she gets amped up, and I think that she doesn't have a filter, and I think that the first thing that comes to her mind, she goes and just says it. And I think that the first thing that she thinks of is usually pretty mean. And then she says it, and then she stands by it because she doesn't know how to like stop in the moment.
Isn't that malicious intent? Doesn't that just make you not that great of a person?
But I don't think it's because she's
because I agree with you. I know, but I agree with you. I think she does not have a filter, and I think the first thing that pops into her head is something bad, and that's not a good thing. That doesn't make you a good person, and that's the thing that I disagree with. Where people say like, I don't think she's going after her maliciously. I'm like, okay. But still, the first thing that she thinks of is probably the meanest thing that's in her mind. Why is that coming up first? Why does she have so much animosity towards one person when they say something to her that rubs her the wrong way? That's what I don't really understand. But the Kyle Sutton is like, it's fucking embarrassing. It's tough to watch. And I know that she has this whole, I can't sit at the popular kids table and whatever.
I think
like,
there's more there.
Fucking high school trope.
I think
there's
a lot more there.
I think the longing for Kyle's friendship is very simple. I think she wants to be accepted by the popular kids. I think that's what it is. And I think that's embarrassing as shit for anybody of any age over like 17.
I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can say that. Only because those kinds of like that feeling of wanting to belong, especially if you're in a social lifestyle like they are. I think if you were like nerdy growing up and you didn't have a lot of friends in high school, you didn't have a lot of friends in college, she doesn't have a lot of friends outside of it. Garcelle and Tilly are the only friends that we really know she's like super tight with. I don't think that feeling of I want to belong ever goes away. And I do think there's better ways to handle it. Of course, I don't think you need to lash out and say stupid shit to other people and mean things to other people just to get your point across. I don't think that's conducive to getting friendships. At the same time, I think the driving factor of why she gets so instantly defensive is because, once again, she feels like she's on the outside looking in. She's not part of the cool crowd. She
Okay.
remembers what that felt like back in the day, and she
I
lashes
get
out.
it.
That's
I
my thought.
understand it. I think it's, maybe it's more normal. Maybe I'm putting people down who do that. That's fine. Whatever. I apologize to those people. How about that? It's still embarrassing for me to watch it. I feel embarrassed. It's secondhand embarrassment, and I think it just looks pathetic. And look, if it happens, it happens. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But watching it play out on screen is really tough to watch. Watching her go into a complete spiral because these women were talking about her on the boat. Yeah, you have the feeling of like, we've watched a lot of these shows where you just want to shake someone and be like, just stand up for yourself in a normal way and don't put your foot in your mouth. But human nature, it goes completely against that. I think we're just so used to watching so many of these women be able to hold their own that when somebody can't hold their own, and there's so many things that you can say, it's like, come on, like, just do it. Like, I don't even feel bad for you anymore. This is just brutal to watch.
Yeah, I mean, that's the tough part is there's two sides to it. And again, because of what she says and the things she does, it's hard to give her like all the sympathy in the world. But I do personally believe that, that feeling of not feeling good enough or cool enough, I don't know if that ever goes away, especially if you're
Maybe
still
it
struggling
doesn't,
to find friends. But you get Tilly and Garcelle, they're also talking about the Kyle stuff. And it's nice that Garcelle has somebody to bounce this off of that will be like, oh yeah, I know, I see that too. Because she wants to be friends with her so bad. And then we're on the boat. Kyle didn't have her back on the boat. And I thought they were cool. And pretty much no matter what Sutton does, and this is the most important part, and this goes to your point, like you would hope that at some point she would recognize this. Nothing you do is good enough. Nothing you do is going to break you into the Fox Force 5. You're not going to be the next one up. That's okay. Your clique looks like a lot more fun to hang out with. I'd much rather chill with Garcelle, Tilly, and Sutton than I would Kyle, Dorit, Erika, and that crew. Like, yes. But the fact that she's always pandering to them, I think it's a lost cause. I don't think you're ever going to crack that. But
yeah, it's definitely a lost cause. And again, I did like this scene because this was a real conversation between Garcelle and Tilly. And I feel like Garcelle, and she said in her confessionals that it's just tough to watch her pining for Kyle's friendship this whole season, last season, the season before. For Tilly to recognize that, you can see the oh my God moment on Garcelle's face where she's like, oh my God.
Thank you.
I'm definitely right. 2, thank you so much. And 3, right? How fucking crazy is this to watch? Like, thank God you notice it too, because I thought I was going crazy. Because the way that you talk to Sutton about it, she just denies and says things like she had a real connection down in Augusta and she thought that was going to cross over. And that one time she stood up for me, that one time that meant a lot to me. It's like, ugh, come on.
I know. What about all the times Garcelle stood up for you? Like,
yeah, I know.
It's just tough. It's tough. But we get the whole group together. They're getting ready to go out, and Sutton's not there yet because she's feeling hurt and a little bit upset. Erika starts to shift. This is the moment for me where I was like
annoyed by.
Oh, what happened? Like, did you get a little? Maybe she's a little tipsy because I also thought maybe on Watch What Happens Live she might have been a little. I don't. Not that that's an excuse
she gets
ever.
Stuck on the premeditated thing. I'm like, get over it.
Yeah, fuck. Who cares? What? Like, why is that so deep? But her defense is like, all I did was ask a question. You all used to ask me questions. We're still doing this apparently, where she still feels some type of way about her treatment during the Girardi shit. They are wildly different scenarios. You cannot compare what she went through with Tom Girardi, the earrings, the lawsuits, the implications. You can't compare that to what is going on with Sutton. It is apples and fucking oranges. Because on one hand, the questions that were being asked, did Sutton go about it the right way? No. Does she ever? No. But other people were questioning you too. And at the same time, they're valid questions. Hey, I heard you got $20 million put into your LLC. What's that about? Hey, I heard you took the earrings back and refused to give them up that are worth $750K that he bought you with stolen money. What's up with that?
If you say that you're upset that people lost their lives, it's not going to be an admission of guilt. Can you just say that you're sorry or you feel bad for them?
You feel bad for people that died?
Absolutely not. Like, yeah, look, Erika, we can revisit that as much as we want. She didn't do herself any favors during all of that. And I don't think that I think she still feels that way. She still feels the same way that she felt during that whole situation where she was not making any sense. And she wasn't making any excuses for herself. She was just being downright wrong about a lot of that stuff. So she did deserve some of the smoke that came her way. And that's just how it is. It's not the same situation, but this shift into the whole premeditated thing. And I know like we do this a lot, especially fucking let that shit roll off. Like, why are you so focused
Why
on
does it matter
the
if it's
premeditated thing? Who cares? Just
I
say
don't know.
no. You already told us 1,000 times. I just asked a question. You laugh off the premeditated thing and say, no, it wasn't premeditated. I'm not going to sit down with Dorit and talk about this. I just wanted to ask her a question because I felt a little slighted and I've been noticing a pattern. Here you go. She answered it. I feel like I got my stuff off my chest. I'm good. I don't really need to deal with this. Instead, she just got so locked on it. And I don't think it was premeditated. I don't think that the two of them sat down and talked about it. It was Erika opened up an opportunity, and Dorit, who has done this the whole season because she's got a little bit of air under her wings, she jumped in. She jumped in immediately.
Hot shit this episode.
She thought she was hot shit for the last like 10 episodes, but she saw a little bit of blood in the water and she went after Sutton. And that's what she's been doing the whole time. This wasn't like a sit down. We need to act like, first I'm going to start and I'm going to go after Sutton and then you're going to jump in at the right moment. Like, no, it wasn't like that. Nobody actually thinks it was like that. Just let it roll off. You don't have to be stuck on this, Erika.
Well, it's Tilly's fault because she's the one that says it to the group. And even when she says it, she felt like it was a little bit coordinated. I went, who said that? Did you say that or did Sutton say that? Because you might be putting words in Sutton's mouth that apparently is going to lead to a major fight later. And she might not have said that. Maybe you felt that it was. And if I remember correctly, she said it when she was in the room with like Sutton and Garcelle. I didn't hear Sutton reiterate that. I just heard her say it again to Erika. So I was a little confused.
Sutton was like traumatized walking around. She looked like she just like witnessed something blow up somewhere. And she was like, oh my God, where are my shoes? Where's everything at? I don't know what's going on. What are you guys doing? You're going to dinner? I don't think I can do that. I'm out of here. Like she wasn't even talking about the situation. She couldn't talk about it.
No, but that's kind of my point where if she's getting that down, clearly there's something not clicking in her head where it's like, why do they keep ganging up on me? It's like, well, you don't do yourself any favors, but I agree. They did come on not too strong, too long.
No, but we're tired of watching it. So I agree with her there.
It's just boring. Like turn the fucking page. And it's hysterical to listen to Dorit's confessionals throughout this because she's like, Sutton can dish it, but can't take it. I'm like, neither can you, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Pot calling the kettle black. You're like, you don't get this confessional. Erika could say that. She could say that if she wanted to. Like, there's multiple. Garcelle could say that if she wanted to. Boz could say that. You can't fucking say that. You can't take anything. She called you a bitch and you acted like she punched you in the teeth. Like you don't get to play this game. It's not fun when you do it either. And like the stock, I wish there was like a stock tracker. I wish we could have that. That would be sick for our power rankings and just have stock in like the house.
I know golf does this thing where you can win a large sum of money at the end of the year if you were talked about the most on the internet. Like helpful to the game. It's an acronym of some kind, but I wish we could do that with housewives each season. Like, which of these housewives brought the most popularity to their show?
The housewives everybody would bonus?
A little housewives bonus, but we get to bet on it. And in the beginning of the season, a lot of people would be taking Kyle and Dorit. If we take somebody like a little plucky underdog, like Sutton, because we think that it's going to go the same season or the same way that all the other seasons have gone, you get that for plus money. I'm in. You get somebody like Garcelle, you're like, oh, she's got to be way down on the list. But Dorit, sell short. You sell short immediately. As soon as you see her getting amped up, nope, she fell off. We're pretty much after that cigarette picture, which, I stopped posting because she wasn't cool anymore.
Yeah, that was the coolest thing she's ever done. It happened pretty fast because she got way too big for her britches. She thought she was way tougher, way cooler than she was. She had a great run. I mean, no one saw a 3 or 4 episode run, but after that, it was like, boo. I remember why you're annoying now. You've done it again. Well done. We were on your team and now we don't care anymore. But
before we get back to the rest of the episode, we have a quick word from our friends over at Prolon. And you know us, we have long work weeks and very busy weekends. Those weekends can be pretty fun, but it adds up. And month after month, it can leave you feeling and looking depleted. Prolon works at all the cellular levels to rejuvenate you from the inside and out, supporting enhanced skin appearance and fat loss, and improving energy and focus post-fast. Prolon's program takes the guesswork out and equips you with a science-backed plan, making it a key tool for your health journey. Steele and I both did their 5-day fasting program. They've got snacks, soups, and beverages designed to keep your body in a fasting state. No guesswork or planning required. We felt so much better after we did it. It was the reset that I needed. How did you feel, Steele?
I mean, look, it was a long football season. Go Birds. We won the Super Bowl, but it takes a toll on you. I didn't even drink, but the amount of cheesesteaks I was eating week to week, I didn't feel great. So I did the Prolon 5-day fast, and I've done fast in the past. I've done just water fast for like 72 hours. You're not allowed to have anything but water. And I felt great at the end of it, but getting to that point was such a drag. It was so tough. I didn't love it. And the minute that I got off the fast, I immediately started to feel back the way I did before with Prolon, because they use science and because you're not actually straight up fasting. They give you some soups, they give you other different things that you can eat throughout the week. You feel good while you're getting through this. So at the end of the 5 days, I felt completely rejuvenated.
And that's all you want. You can listen to us. You can take our word for it. And to help you kickstart a health plan that truly works, Prolon is offering Bros and Shows listeners 15% off site-wide, plus a $40 bonus gift when you subscribe to their 5-day nutrition program. Just visit prolonlife.com/bros. That's prolonlife.com/bros to claim your 15% discount and your bonus gift. prolonlife.com/bros. Now we'll get back to the show.
But before Sutton joins the rest of the group, we get Garcelle calling out Kyle, which I loved, and also undeservedly so for Sutton. Garcelle doesn't owe this to Sutton based on like the
I
conversation they
didn't
had
think she
earlier.
did it for Sutton. I think she did it to go with Kyle. I think she
so? Oh,
enjoys
maybe
poking
so.
Kyle. I don't think she really likes Kyle.
I don't think she trusts
I
Kyle.
guess and that's fair, and I wouldn't disagree with her there. But I don't think this was like I need to stick up for my friend Sutton, because she's shown that she's not doing that as much anymore. I think this was purely just to poke at Kyle. Like, hey,
I'm fed up
what are
with
you doing?
Kyle.
Yeah.
That's fair though. We don't get to push her that much because every time that we do, it's like the end. Fucking Andy couldn't do it at the reunion. He was trying to press about Morgan, and she's like, "I'm not talking about that." It's like, that's what you signed up for. So maybe Garcelle just got to her wits' end where she's like, "Fuck this!" Like, Sutton's expecting blind loyalty out of you, and she's like, "Blind loyalty? Like, what the fuck? Like, is everybody okay?" And she's like, "Not blind loyalty, but loyalty." And that for me was frustrating from Kyle. It's like, you know what she means. You know what she means. Right? Like,
Women
it's
get
not rocket
stuck on
science.
semantics all the time.
Exactly. Like,